Yo, 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 what's going on? How everyone doing tonight? It's not going to be a long stream. Shout out to the LDBC. Shout out to the General, 78 Sports TV. Shout out to Black Fight Fan TV. Shout out to Blue Blood TV. Shout out to Fanon. Shout out to Junior the Truth. Shout out to BFTB. Shout out to KQC, aka the OG. Shout out to everybody, whole LDBC community. Oh, yeah, the title. Yeah, I was strolling through Google and found this article by SB Nation. The article is by a guy named of Scott Christ. Um, and it very interesting title. He said Sean Porter stated that Errol Spence Jr. has grown arrogant, has never faced adversity in the ring. Uh, yeah, is that right? Well, he needed to go back and watch the Kell Brook fight. But let me just read a little bit of the article. It says Sean Porter isn't the favorite against Errol Spence Jr., but the WBC welterweight title holder believes he's going to surpass a lot of people. Surprise a lot of people. Most importantly, Errol Spence himself. The two meet on September 28th, which is next Saturday, in a Fox pay-per-view main event with the WBC and Spence IBF welterweight title on the line. Sean Porter is going to leave the ring with two belts. Porter said at a media workout. Um, him quoting, he said, "I'm going to hit him. I'm going to hit him hard, and I'm going to do things you never seen anyone do against Errol Spence." Um, I just don't see how that's true. I mean, Sean Porter needs to really go back and do his homework because I'm not Earl, but Kell Brook did a really good job in the first 5 or 6 rounds. Um, First 5 rounds of they fight, Kell Brook did a really good job. Earl Spence had to dig deep and come back in that fight. Listen what I said now. Earl Spence had to dig deep. Adversity. He had to overcome adversity in that fight to beat Kell Brook. Not only that, it's adversity when you have to fly overseas to fight a guy in his hometown of Sheffield in front of what, 29, 30,000 people. That's adversity. Not only that, he had to enter the ring, walk, the ring walk itself is adversity because you have 30,000 people that at least 30, at least 29,000 and some change is against you. Just a handful of people from the United States that are, Americans is actually rooting against him because, I'm just going off that. Just 30,000 people rooting against you after being laid off for almost 10, 11 months. Like I said, having to fly over there to Sheffield in his hometown, fight in front of 30,000 people, fighting a big, strong welterweight, a full-fledged welterweight. He had to dig deep. after falling behind in the fight, coming back and later stopping him. That's adversity. He had to overcome something. So he said, Sean Porter said, I'm going to hit him. Okay, this is boxing. I'm going to hit him hard. Okay, he's been hit hard before. And I'm going to do things you've never seen anyone do against Errol Spence. Now that's what that remains to be seen. You know, everyone knows Sean Porter's style. I mean, it's like every single fight is pretty much the same thing, except for his last two fights. He's boxed some. You know, but I mean, goes down Porter. Porter's 31. Errol Spence is 28. What 20, 28, 29 years old. Spence had never. He said Spence has never faced any real adversity in the ring, which is a bald-faced lie. And that when he gets to Spence, he'll take him into deep waters and test his resolve like nobody has to date. Now, that's one thing about Sean Porter I do like. When he step in that square circle, he do step in that square circle to fight. That's one thing about him. He do come to fight, and Sean Porter's gonna bring it. He's gonna bring he's gonna be 100%. He's gonna bring his all into that ring. I honestly and truly believe that's what he's going to do. And so that's one thing about Earl Spence. He do have to be aware of that because um he's gonna bring it his all in this fight. And he said, I'm expecting there to be adversity for Errol. He said there's going to be a moment where he realizes he's losing the fight. He has to be solid psychologically. And I don't know if he's going to be in the ring. I believe I have the advantage there, and that I know how to get into his head. The only person who's been acting out of character this whole time has been Sean Porter. Sean Porter has been the only one out of character this this whole build up to the fight. He's the one who's been out of character. So who's in whose head? I think Errol Spence is in his head. For him to say that Errol Spence is arrogant is nonsense. Because one thing about Errol, the Truth Spence Jr., is he always remained the same. He's he's a low key person. He say what he mean and he means what he say. He's all business when he step inside that square circle. That's one thing I know about him. He's always calm, cool, and collected. He don't let nothing get to him. He don't let anybody frustrate him or get underneath his skin. And and the thing about it, if they are doing it, he's not showing it. But Sean Porter has been out of character. When the last time have you seen Sean Porter just talk this much? Especially at that face to face. That face to face was ridiculous. I mean, come on, Sean. You know good and well this man know how to box. Stop it, Sean Porter. Come on, man. I like you as a fighter, bro. But stop acting like you just this top notch boxer. Because you're not. You're more of a brawler than boxer, and it's okay. Your style works for you. You more of a Joe Frazier type of boxer, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. You use your God given ability, the best of your ability, and you be 100% of who you are, and don't shy away from doing that. Just be you. Just do you, as they say. So Porter is 30 and 30 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 17 knockouts. Also said that he's seen signs of arrogance, not just confidence in the undefeated Spence. He said, I think Errol's confidence is natural like mine, but I think that he's fed his confidence to the point where some arrogance has come out, he said. Now, this is, you know what? Now, this is what he has been attacking his character for a while now. For a guy like Errol Spence, who don't say too much, who only deals with media, who only come and speak to the media when he have to, you know, he's not camera, he's not the Floyd Mayweather type, that just has to be, all eyes on me. Errol Spence is not that type of guy. But I just noticed that Sean Porter has been attacking his character like that. He said, "I've never seen Errol go through." Let me see. I think Errol's confidence is natural like mine, but I think that he's fed his confidence to the point where some arrogance has come out. He said, "I think he's going to show that in the fight early." See, that's once again I mean, when have Errol Spence have not been prepared for a fight? None. So what makes you think he's gonna come out so arrogant? He's just gonna be wild. See, at this point, Sean Porter just talking just to be talking. He's going to have to adjust. Okay, I mean, adjustment happen during fights. Then he said once he recognizes that, he said, I expect the arrogance to go out the window and that he'll have to figure it out. I mean, he just playing, he playing Errol Spence, as if he just this dumb puncher, that doesn't know how to think when he gets in the ring. Like he's not calculated with his punches. I'm like, man, you watch this man dismantle Mikey Garcia. Not saying that Sean Porter is fights like Mikey Garcia, but I'm saying is this here. As great as Mikey Garcia is, Earl Spence shut all of that down. In every aspect of Mikey Garcia's game, Earl Spence killed it. The only rounds you can really give him is what, round two. He has some flashes in in some of the middle rounds or maybe the late rounds, but other than that, Earl Spence shut Mikey Garcia down. So he said, I never seen Errol go through any adversity in the ring. Like I said, he said, I don't think anyone has been able to challenge him the way I can challenge him. Every fighter thinks like that. He's supposed to think like that. He said, I'm really looking forward to it. He said, there is a combination that comes from Sean Porter that you can't get anywhere else. It's the speed, the power, the agility, and intelligence. You have to make a lot of adjustments on the fly and be ready. See, there we go again. He's acting as if Earl Spence, excuse me, he's acting as if Earl Spence has no ring generalship, no boxing IQ, no type of intellect or nothing in the ring. Like he's just a head down, just bombs away type of fighter. You don't believe that stuff that he's saying. You know, so he's saying that you have to make a lot of adjustments on the fly and be ready. I'm hard to prepare for. Spence probably has one or two things that he's expecting, but it's not going to go that way. See, if he would have listened to what Earl Spence said, Earl Spence said those two things, but he said he is preparing for everything. So Porter speaks from experience, says he's been where Spence was, and yeah, you have. You got the title and you lost it. You lost to the man. You lost to Kell Brook. There's only two people has beaten Kell Brook. That's Triple G aka Little G, and Errol Spence. Those are only two people defeated him. Porter said he speaks from experience, that he's been where Spence was, and that he had to learn there's more to being successful at the top tier than just relying on your natural abilities. Is that right? I didn't even know he was in the top tier. But anyway, I've been in Errol's position before, and I know what it's like to think that all I have to do is show up and be me. I've gotten to a point where I realize that I have to do more, he said. Um, Porter says that the key would be to find out if Spence can actually adjust if things aren't going his way, something he hasn't had to do much as a professional. I'm glad he said that, something he hasn't had to do much. Just because you have had hard fights with C-level fighters, because I never looked at Keith Thurman as a top A fighter, neither Danny Garcia. I never looked at him as top guys anyway. I don't even look at Sean Porter as a top, like a top A fighter. I don't see him like that. I'm sorry, I don't. It's like Errol Spence skill set and Terrence Bud Crawford's skill set is above all of them. I'm sorry. My honest opinion, the only person to have a chance at beating Errol Spence is Terrence Crawford. The only person I feel that have a chance at beating Terrence Crawford is Errol Spence. That's a 50-50 fight. Now, anything can happen in boxing. Don't get me wrong. Anything can happen in boxing. Anything can happen in boxing. I'm not putting anything past Sean Porter. But anything can happen in boxing. Like I stated earlier, I know Sean Porter is going to bring 100% into that ring, and he's going to give it 100%. I know that. Errol Spence had to be prepared to go 12 rounds. He's going to have to be prepared to fight every second, every minute of the rounds. He's going to have to be prepared to fight all 3 minutes. Because Sean Porter is a very stay busy fighter. But a jab can nullify everything that Sean Porter do. I'm telling you now, a jab will stop you in your tracks. Jabs, body shots, I'm telling you, it can nullify all of that. But Porter says that the key will be found out if Spence can actually adjust if things aren't going his way. He says something he hasn't had to do much as a professional. He also doesn't discount that Spence is, in fact, a fantastic fighter. Oh, now you want to say that after all the stuff you just said in articles? Come on, man, stop it, bro. I don't think there's too much to figure out with Errol. You know what? That statement, I don't think there's too much to figure out with Errol. You know what? They say the same thing about Tim Duncan. Somebody else said that on the live stream. They said the same thing about Tim Duncan. And his nickname was Mr. Fundamentals. And Tim Duncan is one of the greatest, no, the greatest power forward ever to play the game. My guess, I love Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley is my favorite power forward ever played the game. I don't care what nobody say. I just grew up in that era. But Tim Duncan, I can see him as 1A just because he got championships. I can see that. That's the only reason I put him over Charles Barkley, just because of the rings. But Tim Duncan was Mr. Fundamental. They call it fundamentals. Why? Because he did he pivot, he can lay up, he can dunk, he can shoot from the inside. He had an inside game. He got a face-up game. He can back the opponent down. He can shoot the 15, 17-foot jump shot. He can play from either side. He can pass. He can block. He can do everything. Missed the fundamentals. It was no flash. Tim Duncan had dunked the ball, just run down the court, like he's been there before. It's just like the New England Patriots offense. It's a well-oiled machine. Bill Belichick is the commander, the general. Guess what? Tom Brady. He goes in there, he do his thing. It's a well-oiled machine. That's who Errol Spence the truth is. He's an old school throwback fighter. He gets the job done. And he's going to be hard to beat. Period. So he said, I don't think there's too much to figure out with Errol. That's a lie, because if it was that simple, you would have been fought him. Sean Porter didn't want to fight Errol Spence. I know he didn't want to fight Errol Spence. He was forced to fight Errol Spence, because if he had another option, he would have fought that other option. There's no other option. You already beat Danny Garcia. Keith Thurman got embarrassed by a 41-year-old man in Manny Pacquiao. That old man shut his behind up real quick. What an embarrassment. Hold on. All right, I'm back. Yeah. What embarrassment that was. But anyway, I digress. But he said the game plan is to make him make the adjustments, he said. He said things don't always go to plan, but I still think I know what he wants to do in there. He's not going to give you a lot to adjust, but what he does, he's supreme, and he's great at it. As for the pressure of the fight night, Porter sees it being on Spence much more than himself. He said, I think Errol has a lot more to lose in this fight. He said he's never had to deal with a loss, and most people aren't expecting him to lose. He's in the perfect position, being considered a top welterweight. He's considered the number one welterweight. What are you talking about, Sean Porter? He's in the perfect position, being considered a top welterweight. He is the top welterweight. Just because you cowards didn't want to fight him. The three amigos, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, and Sean Porter. The three amigos was playing merry-go-round with this man. All three of you. And it's a shame, because the four of y'all could have made this era great. And if you want to throw Bud Crawford in there, five of y'all can make this era great. If everybody just fight each other, forget a O. People put so much stock in, and not being able to lose is, now they ducking fights. I'm not just gonna blame this on Floyd Mayweather, because see, people don't want to talk about why he did that, because people was paying to see him lose. And I'm gonna say it, the white man wanted him to lose so bad, so they can just look at the just to see his face with a loss, so they can point I told you so. You're not the greatest. You're not this. You're not that. You're not this. They was waiting for this man to lose. And that's why he put a stock in that O. I don't want to get on that. But I'm just saying, you have five good welterweights. Errol, Crawford, Porter, Thurman, Garcia. You have my fault. You can throw in Manny Pacquiao, but Manny Pacquiao ain't gonna fight two of them. No, three of them. He's not fighting Porter, Spence, Crawford. He'll fight. We already beat Thurman. He'll fight Danny Garcia because Danny Garcia is flat-footed. He's a good fighter, but he's flat-footed. You know, this could have been a great era of boxing with these cats. It could have brought back the '80s when it was Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hitman Hearns, Roberto Duran, marvelous marvelous Marvin Hagler, aka the Four Horsemen. It could have been great. They could have had their own thing, the new generation of the five horsemen, a five-headed race of boxers just fighting, seeing who's the best. If you lose, guess what? I'll see you in 6 months. It's a lot of politics in boxing. Always have, always has, and always it always be politics. He said, as for the pressure of fight night, Porter sees it being on Spence much more than himself. Like I said, he said, I think Errol has a lot more to lose. He said he never had to deal with a loss. And most people aren't expecting him to lose. He's in the perfect position, being considered a top welterweight. But from my perspective, I just have absolutely no intentions on losing. That's great. And that's that. I was, and that's what that's what Sean Porter had to say in that article. Great article, great article. Like I said, from let me see, make sure I get everything correctly because I want to give all the credit where credit deserves. Because a lot of people report on things and they don't give the site where they got it from any credit. But I don't want to do that. This is from SB Nation. Bad Left Hook. It's Global Boxing News and Commentary. The guy that did this piece, his name is Scott Christ. Like I said, the article is the title of the article is Sean Porter. Errol Spence has grown arrogant, has never faced adversity in the ring. So I just thank them for doing this great piece, great interview, great interviewer, and great interview. And shout out to the LDBC. Hashtag new media. Shout out to Boxing Ego. This is It's Just Boxing. See you when I see you. Peace.